It's really 4 movies within one movie, and they all sort of interrelate. But I thought it would be cool if each of the 4 subplots and each of the 4 main characters had their own musical theme and their own sound associated with them. Beth is obsessed with what's on the tape. It's a great mystery to her, so I thought her theme should be mysterious. So the main melody instrument in her theme is piano. So I hit on the idea of using backwards sounds too, because they're sort of familiar and unfamiliar at the same time, and they hit me as mysterious. So there's backwards piano and backwards guitars sort of woven into the textures and the fabric of her theme. The next main character is Mary, and I thought her primary emotion was just sadness, really. And so I chose a nylon string guitar, and I just thought that sort of just evoked the sadness that was her. The third character is Alex and her relationship with her lover. And a lot of her music did have more pacing and drive to it, and that may very well on some subliminal level add into that, the way that she's driven, the way the music is a little more driving. Richard is a tragedy. I love his character. I've always loved Robert Romanus anyway. He just has such a vibe, his whole thing. He was a tragedy, and I wanted to write stuff that was disturbing somewhat and scary, but yet ultimately a tragedy, and to try to get the tragedy of the fact that he really still loves this woman who is done with him.
My name is Robert Romanus. I'm playing Richard. He was out in the middle of the desert, and he hears a phone ring in the middle of the desert, and he follows the sound, and it takes him to this phone booth. He tried to kill himself moments earlier before he heard the phone ring, and he shot his ear off. He missed. He shot his ear off. Basically what happens is he's going to bleed to death. Well, I've known John Putch for years. In fact, I've been in several Putch pictures. And I would always work with John Putch. And fortunately for me, this is a really good script and a really nice character and fun for me to play.
First, we kind of tried to get a feel for what the overall movie would sound like and instrumentation, and then started, you get a theme maybe, a little melodic theme to open the movie, or something that is kind of a foothold, and then start branching out and, well, this could work, this seems to be working for this character. And then you go, now we have to develop something for the other character, which is not that, and so yeah, it kind of just unfolds. And there's an intimacy throughout the whole movie. It just feels really, you feel really close to it. And I'm not a filmmaker, fortunately, so I'm a consumer, and it just, from top to bottom, it never lost me for 1 second. There wasn't one scene where I was like, where I wasn't engaged. I thought that our love was forever. Remember what we used to do.
That's the word thought.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird on the other track too. Can we just pick that up?
I'm Bruce Watson, and I had the pleasure of working with Ace Baker on Mojave phone booth, and playing some instruments, do a little bit of singing, and we just kind of built it together, and it was a blast.
In watching the movie a couple of times, actually, I think the things that I enjoy most are the little moments that were allowed for actors that never get allowed in mainstream or bigger budgeted or more controlled. I don't know. Kevin Rame has a moment where he's being confronted in the kitchen, and he does a funny mouth thing, and he holds it for a second. It's such a real moment, and I just know that if he did that on Judging Amy, they would have stopped and said, okay, dude, that was great, do it again without that funny mouth thing you did. And I loved how long Tinnery took to get what she was being told about what her friend did for a living for real. I felt like you could actually see her get it, and I liked that she didn't hurry it, and I liked that that Hep allowed her to take the time she took to get there. It's one of my favorite moments in the movie, and I think that like those things are real, and what is missing a great deal of the time in slicker, for lack of a better word, projects.
Big ticks.
Oh, good. This is good. Now listen, I'm trying to discern the species, okay? I think my clinical reaction to it was really funny to her. Go from sucking on my side. Anytime you can get someone to break and laugh, I mean, I know it takes more time and more film or tape or whatever, but that's kind of what you're always going for. You're going for making everybody go, we were at the monitor and we couldn't stop laughing. That's what you want, you know?
I'm Larry Poindexter. Daryl is the office Lothario. He's basically notching his bedpost. In the movie, he makes a play for Mary, played by Tinnery. He also is having a thing with Beth, played by Annabeth Gish.
What's his story? Why is he such a slut?
Well, it goes back to his childhood, but I don't think that we should get into that for the DVD behind the scenes.
I'm Doc from DeuceOfClubs.com, and I am the one who put the phone number of the Mojave phone booth on the internet. Bon Wheelie, who's the drummer for Girl Trouble, she used to do a zine. I was reading through the letters to the editor, and there was one from this guy who talked about seeing the word phone on a map of the Mojave Desert. And so he said that he had driven out there, and indeed there was a working telephone, and he included the number. And I decided that I would call that number at least once a day, every day, until somebody answered. And it was about 30 days. It was inside of 30 days when I called it one day and it was busy. And I thought, well, either I dialed it wrong or there's actually somebody at that phone booth in the middle of nowhere in the Mojave Desert. So I just kept redial, and then it rang and somebody picked up. And it turned out to be a woman named Laureen who had a cinder mine out there, and just happened to be making some phone calls, and she said she never heard the phone ring before. But even after that, I just decided, I'm just going to keep calling it. So I did. And then I put something on the web about it, and one thing led to another. And pretty soon people all over the world were calling it. It was a connection. It was a connection. You know, you're sitting at some desk in some god-awful cube doing work that there's no way you would do if you weren't being paid for it. Just something that has no intrinsic value to you. But you can take a little vacation. Take a vacation to the desert in the middle of your day. They love just talking to people in different countries, which is funny. I mean, you could do that every day. If you're in the middle of nowhere, it really somehow, it kind of sets that in relief that here I am in this really isolated, unique individual place, and here's this person on the other side of the world, and we're talking. And it doesn't even really matter what you talk about, out there, just ringing away. And then when I finally did hear that, to be out in a place where it's just so quiet. I mean, when the wind's not kicking up, I mean, just almost unimaginably quiet and peaceful, and then to hear that just over and over again. It was really nice, unless you were trying to sleep. We used to take it off the hook then.
Rules were I could take as much lighting and grip equipment as would fit in my Forerunner. I relied on one light. I had a 20-inch lantern that we use as our main key light, and we use it all over the place. Time allotting, we did have 650 and some 300s that we, which I always tried to push to spend a little more time and making it look a little prettier. It was difficult because we couldn't be as big as we wanted to be. We couldn't. Sometimes some of the limitations of being in these big grand master shots with lights outside and stuff like that just wasn't going to happen. So we had to shoot in certain directions because the sun was coming in that way, or we had to really deal with the natural atmosphere of the lighting and just kind of help it a little bit. We shot with the Z1. Well, first of all, it was a new camera, so we got the cameras like a month before we shot, so we really didn't know that much about it. Kind of went on the Sony bandwagon with their 1080i. Well, we just went out one day and we just shot some exterior stuff, we shot some interior stuff, we lit some interior stuff, we didn't light other things, and we shot outside, overexposed, underexposed, shot under green lights, and we had it all transferred to 35. We took a look at the test and it was amazing. It looked like as if we shot on a 900 or on the top of the line Sony camera. It was pretty darn close. But for a $5,000 camera, it looked fantastic. Being limited by my tools was definitely not a negative point. The way I've always approached these jobs is, you know, you fight for the best tools you can, but once the job starts, it's all about the pictures you can make with the tools you have. So it was definitely a challenge, and it was exciting, and there's a lot of things that I couldn't do that I was used to doing, but it wasn't a negative. It was like, wow, let's see, what can we do with this? What can we do with this little 25-watt light bulb and this camera and no tripod? Let's go. It's great. It's beautiful. So it's all about making the best pictures you can with what you have, and I thought it was very invigorating. And some of the best stuff I shot on that film.
There was nothing hard about working on. I mean, the days were easy. I think a lot of it came down to the fact that everyone I was working with were people that I was having fun with. So, you know, that made it fun. And I guess maybe also because I had the blessing from my wife, it made it even more fun. So now I'm on the behind-the-scenes DVD talking to my wife. This is the first film that I ever worked on where the entire cast and crew were basically the studio execs or owners of the film, and all had a stake in its success. And because of that, I think that since we're all professionals, it was a fun experience. There was no pressure, and everybody had a vested interest in the final product. And I think it's going to show. I have faith.
I'm Steve Gutenberg, and I play Barry. And Barry is a character who wants to buy Rachel and Mary and have a menage a trois with them. The Mojave phone booth to me is a metaphor for memory and experience, and that nothing is ever lost, that no moment is ever erased. Even if it's a moment alone, it's always there. I came to this because John Putch and I worked on The Poseidon Adventure, which was a show on NBC. And John is such a terrific director. He asked me to play a part in this film, and I said, absolutely, I'd do anything for John Putch. He's a very talented, terrific guy.
The Mojave phone booth for Beth is an oasis. It's a home, it's a comfortable place where she can go and talk to an anonymous voice who actually isn't anonymous to her because she forms a connection with just the voice. But it's a place where she can really try to sift through all of her angst and her thoughts and get rid of the junk in her mind. For me, this character is really great to play because she's not present. And a lot of the work that I, sometimes do is, people who are very present. And so this is a great chance to really zone out and, like play in those gray areas. Well, a dear friend of mine, Mr. John Putch, contacted me. So he gave me the script, and, immediately upon reading it, I signed on. And I really like the people who are associated with this script. And I really like the character and the material as a whole. And I have to go to work.
Thank you for talking.
Okay, that was good.
To us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Coming, John.
Wardrobe was amazing. Bonnie was incredible. She created this wonderful folder for us that showed us exactly what we're wearing, when we're wearing it, what scene it's for, everything. And it was so detailed that it's hard to even think about, oh my gosh, what am I going to wear on this day? Did I wear that? How was my hair? There were just so many things that she, you know, included in her folder that made my job, you know, so much easier. I didn't even have to think about it. So, God bless her. Having to do my own wardrobe and be in charge of all that, my hair and my makeup and everything, it's you know, had it been with different people, which I've had happen, it's frightening. But since I was with this team and this group of people that had the same agenda, that we wanted to have a wonderful product, and I made notes for myself on those pages so that I knew how my hair was, and I knew the kind of makeup that I was using, and because there were different scenes, you know, some scenes you needed more makeup than others, so it made a big difference. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful gift when you have people that are on the same page, and it's very rare. I don't care what kind of budget you have, it's very rare.
My name is Jerry Jacobs, and I was one of the producers on the movie, along with John Putch and Jerry Rapp. And I was also a crew member much of the time. Our crew was like, besides the actors and the director, was maybe 4 or 5 people at any one time. So I was the B camera operator a great deal of the time. I also did some booming and caused some trouble with the lights in such a way that they wouldn't ask me to do it anymore. This movie was really different than most traditional ways of shooting a movie. At the very beginning, we got a list of like 15, 20 rules from John Putch, the director, of things we couldn't do. All the equipment had to fit in the trunk of a couple of cars. I think we could never have more than 4 lights on a set at any one time. And although we've fudged the rules a little bit here and there, it really gave us a good guideline of how we were going to do it and keep it simple, which, as you know, movies never are too simple. The only places we had to get permits for sure was on the Boulder Highway in Las Vegas, which was like a $50 permit or something. And then where we actually had the phone booth out in the middle of Lancaster on a dirt road, I mean literally a dirt road going nowhere, we had to get a permit in Los Angeles, and it was $1,500. And I remember we were all just appalled that it was $1,500 to shoot on a dirt road, but we could drive anywhere in Nevada for $50. One of the unique things about this movie is normally when we all do a movie, we get paid a fee to do it, which was not the case here. But as it turned out, everybody owns a piece of the movie. There were the whole crew, if we shot on a location, if someone gave us a free piece of equipment, everybody's a profit participant in the movie. And now that I've seen it, you know, finished, I hope to become a thousandaire someday.
I'm Julie Morgan, and on Mojave Phone Booth, I have done the jobs of gaffer, prop master, art direction, camera assistant, grip and electric because we didn't have a crew, production coordinator, and whatever job needed to be done, I was kind of the fill-in person on the movie. We shot half of the movie in Las Vegas and the other half in different places in Los Angeles. And we rented a house that the crew stayed in Las Vegas, and then we used that as one of the cast's house. Having the house be our location was very handy. The whole crew, being that we were so small, we were so tight-knit, just like a family, and at the end of every shoot day, we were able to meet with each other, figure out what we were going to do the next day, and then have time to just relax and spend time with each other non-work-wise to kind of just release everything, and then the next day wake up and be ready to go. Making Mojave Phone Booth has been, or was, the best filmmaking experience that I've ever had. And afterwards, we were definitely all friends, and everybody brought their little something special to the movie, and without each and every person that was part of it, it wouldn't have been the great movie that it has become.
Beth, you have to move.
Stop it!
It drives me crazy. It's a simple solution. I have a 2-car garage. You can have half.
No, Tim.
So what, keeping your rent low makes up for having 3 stereos stolen in the last 2 months? Tim is the guy she should be with, man.
Annabeth's character should be with Beth. He's the good guy. He's the solid guy. He's the guy that would take care of her, treat her right. She obviously cares for her, but for some reason can't seem to fully commit to, which is the best part. It was my favorite part of the story, because I get cast as the nice guy a lot, but usually he gets walked over. And so it was cool to see the nice guy who, not the best way of doing things, but did everything in his power that he thought was the right thing to do. It just turns out to be not the best thing.
We are about to do some Foley, and because the movie is a high-budget film, we're going to do the Foley on the keyboard. And that's this is a new way to do Foley. So I'm going to go in my Foley bank and look for leather on gravel. I just double-click on it. Voila. And we have leather on gravel. The trick is to do it in slow motion, half-speed video recording. So. I moved in Los Angeles in 1987, and I've been mixing films since 1991. When John called me and said, I have this movie and I want everybody to be involved, that's something I always wanted to do, because when you're not getting paid right away, but you're involved and your name is on a project, you end up giving 200%. When you work on a job, it's a job, you get a paycheck. When it's done, you move on to the next job. This movie is more like, I'm going to pay attention to every detail to make sure that it sounds the way I want. And because there is no time restriction, because of the budget, I can spend all the time in the world to make it perfect. And that's very attractive to me.
My name is John Putch, and I am the co-producer, co-writer, and director of Mojave Phone Booth. The process was really fun to write, and what was great is we were sitting there and we were writing it for us. We weren't writing it for the guy in the glass building or the studio over there, or there was none of that. It was just cool. It was great. The movie had to be made completely different, and I wanted the experience to be different, and that includes starting with how many people are involved. So, crew of 8, making a feature film. It can be done if everybody helps. You're walking past, when you're done, you pick up a sandbag or you pick up a box and you take it out to the car. That's the kind of thing we did. And everybody kicked in. And the actors, some actors, wouldn't accept gas money, because no, I don't want the money, John, because I put it back in the show. And that's the kind of spirit we had on the movie, and it was really, really great.
This idea first came about when John and I had the need to explore sort of deeply imagined characters and situations that we hadn't seen before. We also wanted to do something that was different and represented a creative freedom that we hadn't experienced in other situations. The Mojave phone booth is interesting because when we started this project, it was just a literal thing. It was a phone booth that had lore underneath it for many years. People across the world knew about this booth. So at first it was just a literal thing where people would drive out and they would express themselves via this booth because they couldn't do it any other way. And when we were out there actually shooting it and seeing the expanse of the booth against the desert plain, you really got a sense of the mindscape, the possible mindscape of this movie. And that was an element we hadn't really planned on, but I think it just kind of came about organically. I think it's a film that doesn't necessarily succumb to the idea of a clear, concise resolution. I think that we intentionally left a lot of these stories open-ended because that's the way life works. You don't always get from point A to point B. Sometimes you get from point A to point F, and you have to go back and retroactively figure out how you've gotten there, and it usually makes complete sense by the time that happens.
Reality Check is a small visual effects, animation, and design company. We've been around for about 10 years. Myself and 2 business partners started it, and now we're about 35 people here in Hollywood. We've been lucky enough to work on a number of feature films, everything from Behind Enemy Lines to Spider-Man 2 to now we're working on The Grudge 2. There are not a lot of visual effects shots, but we think they'll have a lot of impact. We get to do a great spaceship and some particle effects with tape falling, so it's a fun project.
We made a spaceship using Maya, and we tried to match this scene. It's just test, but
oh yeah, a little kind of animatic-y thing.
This stuff on the inside will be the same stuff as this out here, and so will this. Okay? You'll just see a little bit of a rim, because you got to think about the moon. It's almost an infinite light source. It's way out there, and since our highlight is here, it's going to be casting that shadow back this way the whole time, so it'd be way out here. Okay?
My name is Vivian. I am a compositor, and what I did for this shot was we had to have some kind of ghost-like movement moving through this guy's body as he's walking through the cave. So I made a displacement map. It's just a simple black and white image that moves. So this is what the displacement map looks like. It moves like this. It's something I animated. And then that becomes what you see in the final shot.
My name is Tineri. I'm from South Africa. I have traveled all this way to make this wonderful movie with you. Initially when I read the script, I was a little nervous. I was like, oh my God, they wrote this character for me.
I wondered whether I might borrow some money.
You gotta be kidding me.
It's for a good cause.
Oh, well.
I'll pay you back.
You know, it starts out with her needing money. Well, Mary is one of the characters that travel up to the phone booth to talk to someone, because Mary has no one to talk to. Mary is so alone. And Greta is the only person that Mary can really talk to. Greta asks Mary, you know, do you have someone that you can go to? And Mary even has to think about it a little while before she realizes that there might be someone she can turn to. And people always talk about their independent projects that they're going to take on, and they never do. And this really happened. It happened so quickly and so fast. Everybody pulled out all the stops and put in all their weight, and it was unbelievable and wonderful. And here we are.